Do you know what makes a difference in a great Hollywood film? It's understanding the why behind it. And today, Damon Wolf joins us, tells us about the backstory of his new feature film, Spinning Gold, and many other amazing Hollywood features. So enjoy this episode. Well, welcome back to the show.
Thank
so
you.
Good to have you. It's funny to you're like quasi-retired, so I feel like you have lived a Hollywood life, and now you get another Hollywood life.
Years.
Wow.
I know.
Are you still a fan of the movies? Like,
Here's what I'll say is that, yes, I am. How can I not be? It's in my family blood. It's just literally what we did. And I love the movies. I love the idea of movies. I love the idea of how movies used to shape culture, define culture. And now it's on the brink of not doing that. It is reacting to the culture that someone else has set. And that is why we have so much content. But I do love movies, and you catch one every now and then that's like, well, this is a fucking amazing thing. And I have one, the one's coming up. But the idea of movies changing so much that to work in the movie for what I did in a creative field changed so much overnight in a way that it just wasn't the same thing. And so having that Lionsgate 2019, which was literally the year of my career, I mean, every single thing worked. And then to have COVID come and then start selling the movies off to VOD and when we were releasing Barb and Stargate of Vista Del Mar, which is the funniest movie ever in the world.
Hilarious.
And it was such a great campaign. And it's like, does anybody hear it? What's the deal? And it just sort of like, it was time to go. Yeah. Because there's nowhere to go but down.
Well, I always imagine retiring and all I'm going to do is binge watch. So I want to know if you're a fan, or do you just run away and start gardening or buying antique cars or something else in retirement?
Yes, surprisingly. No, but I've been renovating my house in the French Quarter, which is, y'all got to come see it. You got to do a show from New Orleans, from the courtyard. It's the most magical place.
We'll do next week.
So. And there's a weird Hollywood thing that going on there. They spent $1 billion last year in New Orleans on movies, but there's this weird kind of you see a lot of people like Jennifer Coolidge, and I mean, there's weird. It's like a little mini Hollywood, but so it's be tax deductible for your trip.
Love it. Yeah, good, thanks.
Even better.
But I do that. But you know what? I love entertainment. The problem is that the movies that are being offered is they're not my kind of movies, so to speak. Because they don't make my kind of movies in movie theaters anymore. And my kind of movies are kind of like Terms of Endearment, Sweet Home Alabama.
Sweet Home Alabama. That's a fun
good one.
A baby in a bar.
Good for you.
But it's like we're inundated with these films that are so engineered right now, and the problem is that then it's like everybody does it, and guess what's happening? People are like, oh God, I'm so tired of this shit, and it's going to sort of go away, and they'll figure out something that everybody just crowds against and stuff, and there's no kind of strategic kind of balancing of the movies that I think that it's up to the studios and sort of the people making the movies to define the movies that are offered to
Keith in his newsletter this week talked about the death of the Halloween franchise, quite literally, where last year was $50 million film. This year it's dropped by 10% or 20% or something like that, and it's almost ridiculous of did anybody realize or think that we're going to actually watch the same movie over and over again year after year and be able to tell the difference anymore? And so it's almost like there was who's making these decisions? Are we just...
Well, but we will listen, as well as I do, that Hollywood will beat a concept into the ground, kill it, shoot it, and run over it with a car.
Toy Story 4 is the worst thing you could ever do to a franchise.
It was Toy Story 11.
5 years later, they're going to bring it back out. You know what I mean? But I think that, listen, horror, I still am excited about horror. I love horror. I actually am producing movies, and I have produced a horror movie that comes out in January, and it's super fun. And I think that, you know, the Halloween franchise, it was such a big thing. And last year when it did such a big number, I think they had to sort of end it, you know, and I think they really had to. And, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis is a friend of mine. We became very close on Knives Out, and I adore her. And I mean, good for her. I mean, she's having such an amazing year. I mean, she really is with that, you know, that the A24 movie. I mean, so good.
Well, she's a movie star.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
She's a movie star. She's a movie star. And you know what? I've met everybody. Everybody. She's the only real person in Hollywood.
Wait, not Will Smith? What are you talking about? Will Smith?
Yeah, what about Will Smith? Come on.
No, let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there.
The ones that I've kind of gotten really close to and stuff to see, I mean, it's like she is such a real person. And you know, it's like, listen, congratulations to her.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk a lot about rehashing the same genre, and I feel like I wrote a little bit about this in my newsletter too. It was like, I'm a comic book geek, so I grew up kind of reading them, and so the Marvel sort of era was sort of a high point for me. But now I'm kind of in like, I'm kind of conflicted because the quality has just dropped significantly. Even Marvel's struggling. And then, you know, I had high hopes for that, you know, Black Adam could be like the reset of the DC universe, and they're kind of trying to figure out who's going to run it. And now it's just reading the reviews, and it sounds like, nope, they haven't figured it out either. And it's just like, I feel like that's one of the genres you're talking about, where it's like, it's slowly starting to die a slow death because they're beating it.
You can feel it. You can feel it. You know, it's like, I remember we opened up, you know, the Avengers that like broke every record, which was, I think, in 2019. That was like a big feeling. You know what I mean? It was like an ET feeling. It was a moment of like, it was a hallmark in our business. And it seemed from there, it just kind of, nothing has ever sort of with Marvel or the superhero franchises. But I think that when you have every single person in Hollywood is in one. And you know, it's like, I don't even know I don't know who is from what and which ones they cross over into and stuff. But I mean, when that's the business that's offered, you know, and this is the business that you've chosen, that's the big work you're going to do.
Yeah.
And you know, but I will say that there was a time, and I agree with you, that Marvel was symphonic. I mean, it was like a symphony. It really was. It's like their movie making, the way it was marketed, the grandeur and the respect, I think was symphonic. And I think what's happened is that, you know, what happens when you make a photocopy of something, and then you got to pass it out to the teachers, and they make a photocopy of something, and then a photocopy, that you're just struggling to read what the hell it is. I think copycats and sort of, you know, other movies is what's happening. And that's what kind of ultimately diminishes people's.
So you're making your own films now, right? And
well, I'm not making them, I'm producing them, which is like marketing. It's like marketing just to the studio, you know. It's like, it's
right. You're selling it into
just to Tom and Nicole.
Like, you're in that mindset of like, what film should I make? Is the first thing you're thinking about marketing? Like, do you realize, when you're reading something, you're like, oh, this could be sold, therefore,
100%. And I'll tell you that there's 3 things that are coming up for me that are just really exciting. And we're talking, y'all don't realize how stupid I am. I mean, and I mean that, like, if I didn't find this business, I would have been, I don't know what, because I failed remedial math twice, and I'll show you remember. And I don't really have this thing, but when I found this business, it can be applied to anything, whether you're producing, whether you're doing it to an audience. But I don't know if you know who Deon Taylor is. Do you know who Deon?
No,
I don't.
Okay, the director Deon Taylor, I just want to tell you this, is that, so him and his wife Roxanne have a company called Hidden Empire. And I met them when I worked on their film, The Intruder. And it opened big, and it was like, you know, it was a real success, and Black and Blue, and we had Fatal at Lionsgate and stuff. And, you know, this man is self-taught. He has created a company, and he's done it, you know, it's an African-American media empire. And this last movie we did, I helped him with, he financed, wrote, produced, directed.
Wow.
marketed and distributed it, all done at if Edgar Wright would have done that, that would have been front page news for a week straight.
Right, exactly.
And not even a mention. I mean, we had to get it mentioned after the movie came out. It was the highest grossing limited release movie in COVID. But anyway, so he went and shot this movie in COVID, and it was called like something with fear, and it was like a great cast with like T.I. and Joseph Sikoria and Ruby Modine and like Terrence J. It's like it's a horror movie. And when I got to it, when I watched it with him, I was like, Dion, you have stumbled upon something so important, because what you've done is you've created, he just went and made a movie, but what he sort of delivered was a high concept horror film based on the idea that your emotions can kill you. The emotion of fear can kill you, actually. And so I was like, this is a big idea. We're going out and we're going to make it a franchise. I called like all my people, Tom and everybody. And I'm like, next Halloween, love the horror story. I mean, like, it's because a franchise, and these are micro budgeted, well done. He's a great director. He has an eye. And so I looked at it immediately through marketing and expanded it into something that I really think is going to be a financial, kind of windfall, and a creative outlet that can kind of keep going for a little while. So that's what I did with that. Free Agents, we have another one with Nicki Minaj and 50 Cent with Hidden Empire, and we have it with Sony with Tom and Nicole. And that's a big, ballsy heist movie. And it is a big commercial film, and it's wet and it's sort of glossy, and it's got big numbers and bank heists and Nicki Minaj's, everything.
Nicki Minaj.
But what I'm looking at, well, he's got to make the movie. I'm looking at it at every moment on every page. What exactly do I need to capture and change the dialogue? And you can't say that after, or you're going to get a post 11. So you might as well do one version with this, dialogue. And I think that it's weirdly like works very, very well.
That's like kind of my theory is like, if you know the end, you have the end in mind, then really the whole thing flows. The struggle people have is that they have a desire for something. They haven't thought about who's going to watch it, where it would play, how much money it's going to take. And therefore, and like it, especially the marketing, the end result, like, but if you start with the why you're making it, then you kind of like could reverse engineer the entire film to the film you need to make to get those results. And you really stack up a series of films. It's not one film doesn't make your career. You have to know how to make the next film and the next film and the next film, and you play them all together.
And you know this because from your studio days, is that everyone in the studio is a marketer.
Absolutely.
But no.
Oh Lord, you hit my soft spot, Damon.
We can't make the movies, it's like. But what I'll say is that I have worked at places or broken down walls for myself because I needed to. Working with production in a very, very, like at TriStar, Nicole and I, she's my wife. She will be my wife for the rest of my life. I love her. And it was a marriage. And Tom actually created that because of marketing needed to be in everything.
Yeah, right.
When I got to Lionsgate, it was always kind of a little, kind of separate. But listen, myself and Nathan Kahane, who we had just come off the success of Don't Breathe, like we had this relationship, and we looked at everything as a togetherness thing. And I think that the more studios do that, but it's so hard, politics. I mean, it's like I'm releasing a movie, a commercial movie on par with any other studio, and it's going to feel that way with 8 people releasing it. And I had a department of 150,
including your cast.
I'm talking about marketing and distribution. There's 8 people that is going to release this film, and it is on par with anything that I've ever done with 150 people.
Right.
And it's a movie Hollywood didn't want, but it's the movie that America has been looking for, and it's a special film. It's called Spinning Gold. You might have heard about it. It's been around for about 3 years.
This is the Casablanca records.
It is. And here's the deal. The movie does something that no movie in Hollywood can do right now, because we like to tell everybody every single thing every little detail about the thing before they get in the theater.
The theater, yep.
This movie does something that you just don't do. And this is why it's going to be successful, because at the end of the movie, when you've watched it, you're sitting in the dark, they turn on the lights and you're like, how the fuck did I not know about this?
Oh yeah.
It catches an audience by surprise.
Yeah.
And there's no greater feeling than sitting in an audience in a movie, because that's a meditative state.
I remember films like that. Those are the ones that stick with you. And because it's a cultural experience that we had and we're having again, where you understand. Yeah. It brings us together. Yeah.
When we tested the movie, every single person in there was caught off guard, because they're like, how did I not know this story? And it just promotes a conversation and sort of like, and that word of mouth. And so it's a special film, and we're doing it with 8 people, and it's going to be a hit.
I love it. Where is it now? What's the?
Well, so I just actually at this, after this meeting, I'm going to present the full strategy. We've done the entire, kind of positioning, audience. We've done research. We've, a full marketing deck that, publicity, media, you name it, stunts, South by, I mean, everything. And so we presented that. Now we're actually, I'm sort of kind of heading up with the materials making of the stuff. So I'm working with the vendors, and it's my favorite thing to do. And we're creating the materials. PR is starting that sort of path to sort of create this thing. But, we have a limited amount of money. But this money, when you do it like this, it's like, and let's just say it's more than this, but let's say it's $5 million P&A. That $5 million with 8 people is like a $15 million P&A at the studio, because you're spending $1 million before someone says, nope, all right, go back.
Exactly right.
And, so you're really working with the filmmakers, and they're so appreciative, because this is not their world. But so we're creating the marketing materials. We're going to launch, kind of our campaign probably next week before AFM, to announce the date we've chosen, which is, oh my God. Oh yeah, I'll give you a little. No, I'm not going to. The publicity woman, I'm scared of, and she'll kill me.
Yeah, she will.
And
she probably has it sold to an outlet for an exclusive window.
She's the best in the business, and I was talking to somebody from Warner Brothers who was going to come on the team with us, and she's like, you have assembled an amazing team. I said, because every single person that is doing that particular job is an expert in their field. And the respect, and when you're an expert, you don't need to convince anybody, you submit it, and people respect it, and it works within your own, everybody else's fiefdom. And it's true, and it's a special group, and this is going to work, and we're going to do it again, like we did with the house next door. We're going to do this, and we're going to do another one. And pretty soon, I think people will understand that, like, oh wait, I'm spending all that money giving it away, and 8 people can do this.
To wishful thinking. Yeah, right. Yeah, I love it. So it sounds like you're rethinking marketing world.
Marketing distribution.
And I've kind of stated this as like, it's the end of the blockbuster, right? What started with Jaws ended with Marvel. That world is over.
When you said that, it was so sad.
I know, because it's been our whole life.
It is sad.
It's sad, yeah.
It's sad. It is.
But but the open door is what you're talking about. Like, we don't have to compete with Marvel anymore. Now you can touch an audience. You can get some followers. You can find loyal groups of people to the work that you're doing, and do it 7 times. You'll be a Focus Pictures or whatever. Right. Like, you can kind of keep going.
And the research shows that for this particular thing, which takes place in the, it is a finite amount of time where one man did something extraordinary, and he discovered every single music act that is the soundtrack to our lives at our age. I mean, Gladys Knight, Kiss, Parliament, Village People, you name it.
Yeah.
He found Bill Withers changing toilet seats on an airplane.
Wow.
And this is the things that really have affected you. Everywhere you go, you think of that. You will always know this music.
It's like it's played at every wedding.
Yeah,
And
It's like
pretty
it's
much.
the wedding dance music.
you don't even know his name, and you don't
Yeah.
even know his name because he died right after they all died of cancer. And but what I'll say is this: is it's a happy movie directed by his son, and who is a phenomenal director, and it's got a new song, you know, kind of an original song, because all these artists, Donna Summer, all these, they loved him so much. You know what they did? Here's my music for the movie. Do you know how much we had to pay for Ricky and the Flash music? I mean,
I don't even want to know.
you know what I mean? Like, it's like, but they love this. And do you know how hard it is to get famous people to say something nice about someone else?
Yeah, we did 100th anniversary or 100th episode thing and get all those famous people to do that. I'm just kidding.
That was a struggle.
But you know what I mean? It's like it's that thing that famous people don't like promote other famous people. They're you know, especially it's all in a competition. But all these people say, this man is the reason that I am who I am. And it's such a wonderful thing. It's a wholesome but nostalgia for the audience. What we tested it in Dallas was the reason they want something to feel like it used to feel. And I understand that.
Yeah, sure. It is pretty awesome to have the ability to find a story. Just like that's like a treasure hunt, right? And when you find that one story that you know the world needs to hear, to have the skill, the ability, the network, whatever that is, that you could produce that film, you can get it out of archive in a way, get it out of somewhere that's been lost and put it out there in front of people so they can share it. You become like a cultural connector. You're the storyteller and of the moment of the ages, right? That's pretty cool.
It really is, you know, and I have such respect for, you know, storytellers and writers and stuff. I think that, I mean, God, to tell a story, I mean, I only have my actual story, which is probably more crazy than any one that someone could come up with, but to come up out of thin air and think of something like is how genius.
I know.
Bow down. And I think that, you know, when you have that kind of talent, if you do not use it, it is wasted talent that people.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the ones I'm most impressed with are the prolific storytellers. They can, the Aaron Sorkins of the world, just keep pulling stuff out over and over and over. TV show, film, it doesn't matter, it just keeps on coming. You're like, where does it come from? That's why that person's doing what they're doing, right? They're the best in the field.
Yeah, there's only a few of them. You know?
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of them that are undiscovered. You know what I mean? I say that because it's like, you know, listen, I mean, Hollywood is the last great industry where you can come here with $250 to your name and some rollerblades and, you know, ascend to the sort of heights of your career with just talent and learning on the job and how to sort of manage that. And it really is one of the last places.
I'm so lucky. You're so lucky you had $250. All I had was a Chevron credit card. I didn't even have $250.
I had a 15-foot U-Haul.
I lived on that Chevron credit card.
I totally stole them when they would give me. It was they had food, they had gas. What else did I need as a PA?
Yeah.
Did you totally reality bites that shit? I mean, I was people my credit card and like, give me some cash, you know?
I was using my miles that they were paying me for being a PA and to pay off their credit cards to get my food to go into the miles.
You think, like, you know, my first apartment, like we slept on the floor. Me and my friends slept on the floor. We had a pillow and a blanket and a clock radio that we'd listen to Dr. Laura Schlesinger every night as our
of course.
Dr. Laura, I love it.
You know, it's like you just sort of like kids today. Oh no, that's not happening.
No, they would never do that.
I lived in a room in someone's house. That's all I could have is like I had to like mow her lawn and everything to pay my rent and everything.
I mean, it's crazy. But that's what makes you. That makes you. Here's what it does: is that no matter what, you could drop me out of a plane in Afghanistan and I would be running the resistance and having a room ready that day. Kids today would be Siri, north or south.
No, yeah, failure's not an option. Like it's
No,
that
it's
is
not.
simple.
No.
Like I'm not going to fail. Like I
But
did
they
it.
are
I'm going to
so
do it again.
smart. They're so much smarter than we are, but it's like scary smart, but can't change a tire.
No. It's very true. It's
Yeah.
very true. So
I,
true.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm glad it's only like 6 hours because I would watch this for 40 hours if they're there. But I've been watching the Get Back documentary / film on Disney Plus about the Beatles' last album.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we're very lucky to have this film. Peter Jackson did an incredible job. He remixed it. He cut it in a way that the story is very fluid and obvious. But what I love about it is it's the creation of an album. And sometimes they're just like on a piano, humming something, and then Paul would start with a word, and then like, Get Back comes out of just like humming and playing or whatever. But also like all the effort, all the work to put an album together. Because as a consumer, it's already done when you grab it. So you have such a skewed version of what it actually takes to create something. It doesn't, it's true effort. And people in Hollywood, they kind of know the difference. You're like, well, do you know what it looked like before you ever saw it? I mean, I appreciate you liked it, but do you know what it meant to get it out there and make that thing?
Listen, you're creating art. I mean, it's like, this is the canvas of that art. That is the canvas of that art. And it is the most vulnerable thing, and all of us, no matter what you do in this business, there is a creative element to it because, it really is. So we're all creative people, and all we are insecure people being like, do you like my painting? It's sort of like, it really is.
It is.
It's, and that weirdly, connects us. But it's the thing that has always driven this town, which is, insecure artists produce amazing art for the world to see because it's so personal and it tells a story about them. And that's all that we're doing. Mm-hmm. I'm just hoping that, that we don't completely give ourselves away and not continue to shape culture, but react to it, because because that's what we're doing right now. And there's so much content because all we're doing is feeding what has happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're not really
just being an echo chamber. All we're doing right now is an echo chamber.
We're not strategically putting forward the message and shaping the change of the culture, like social media, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. They're doing that. And I think that's a role, and it's not bad. And maybe it's evolution. I don't know. But I think there is still a big voice at the table for feature films. And in its meditative state of going into a theater in a darkened room and watching something that you are not, the phone's not ringing and the mailman's not coming, the kids aren't shitting on the floor. It's like, it is a meditative state and you are transfixed to that story. And that means something. And it's an important act for us to do.
Yeah. Amen. That's an amazing message. It's exactly right. It's kind of what Keith and I want to call out here is like, look we recognize there's something different. There's something that's changing. We can lament. We can talk about, it's unfortunate some of the things we love have gone away, but they've gone away. And there's a new moment, a new change, a new opportunity. And therefore we need new voices. We can't have, the elders running the studios. We have to have the young voices available. We need to have new people making new things, not just repeating the old stuff over and over and over, making the copies, as you say.
Well, and it doesn't feel, even with the big studios, as competitive as they were, it all felt collaborative. And I'm telling you, Apple is they're doing their own thing. That's all. Apple considers themselves a whole other thing than the rest, and Netflix that. And so there isn't this sort of like camaraderie. There isn't this sort of kind of like, let's all sit at the table and let's talk about how are we gonna fix the fucking world. You know what I mean? It's like, where are those conversations?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the streaming world has just dominated it all, and it's all us versus them now, and it's just
They can
lost that.
still be, but that's a choice that we've made.
Yeah,
That's a choice
fair.
that we've
Yeah.
all made, because I mean, it's just like it used to be there was such an antagonistic relationship between the studio and the exhibitors. It used to not be that way with my grandparents. They were full on, Paramount people, but then it became antagonistic. And those are because studios have no point of sale for they spend $35 million and to another 25 making the movie, and they have no data on the point of sale of who went and saw their movie.
Yep.
AMC does. And there was always this antagonistic relationship. But you see that coming together. You see that ending. You see that. And that's simply because someone said, I know I did it with Elizabeth, is I picked up the phone and I said, this is so ridiculous that there's a fighting here when we all have the same goal. Because you going out of business, we going out of business.
Not good for anybody.
Not at all. And so it all starts with a conversation. And I do think that in Hollywood, someone can pick up the phone and call Netflix. Let's talk. And it's like, but I don't know if that's happening, because it feels like, oh, someone said they're trying to put us out of business. No, that's not. This has changed everything.
Right.
And if we want to be mad at somebody, we can be mad at this, because the conversation that you see on here is very different than I'm sure from my mother. But someone has to have a talk and be like, hey, can we just sit around a table, and it's maybe going down south, from a few of us, and we don't want that to happen, because we have defined culture and we need to continue doing that. So how do we get on the path together?
Right.
Yeah, it's like an awakening. We just need an awakening in this world. We need
the
voices to
drug, whatever they gave them, El-Dopo.
Well, keep in mind, it was like Spielberg and Lucas that started the last movement. They were film geeks. They weren't the druggies. The druggies were their friends that were
exactly. But remember when Steven Spielberg, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and David Geffen came together to start a studio? It's like these are titans of their own world come to start a studio, and it felt important. It felt like meaningful, and it's like, where are they? Where are the
yeah, we're ready for them.
Where's
maybe that's us.
Maybe that's us. There you go. I like that. Let's finish on that note.
Damon, I know you have to take off somewhere, but
I do. I have a meeting and then a plane.
So before you jump off, tell us again the film. Okay. And you're not going to tell us when's coming up, but give us a timeline. We're in the spring. Is that what's happening?
It will be around Easter.
Okay.
Around Easter. Got it. Okay.
And it's called?
It's called Spinning Gold. And it is the story of Neil Bogart and Casablanca Records, and how he literally gave us the soundtrack of our lives. And it is, without a doubt, you're going to leave that with a happy feeling, a spring in your step. You're going to dance in the aisles, and you're going to do something that no film has been able to do in a very, very long time. You're going to leave surprised. And that's a really good feeling to have. And
probably leave with songs in our heads that we won't be able to get out for a week, right?
I'll tell you, listen, Gladys Knight's Midnight Train to Georgia.
Yeah.
That train wasn't always going to Georgia. Come see the movie to find out what it was.
Wow, that's a good little teaser. I like that.
And Kiss, the song Beth. Come find out who it's really about.
They didn't rock and roll all night and party every day. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
What you find out is they were just a couple of boys from Israel. Literally, it's a wonderful movie, because it tells you the story behind the music, and
I love that.
It's such a wonderful thing, the details that he has found.
Great.
Well, thank you for making that film so we can enjoy.
Yes.
Well, I would buy some media on your space if you sold any media. Do you sell media?
Yeah, we sell.
Yeah. We sell. Yeah.
You do? Okay. Because you should break this podcast into a little commercial break by spinning gold.
There you go.
We will drop you in at the 15 and 20 minute mark.
There you go.
Sounds good. We're only doing 10s and 15s now because the 30-second spot people cannot pay attention to.
But you know, it costs extra to have the producer as a profile on the show. So we'll send you that second bill.
That's called
Pay to play, bro. Pay to play.
That's called a paid media promo.
No, there you go. Paid media promo. That's it.
Sounds like Damon's our new business partner there.
Yeah, there you go. Sold.
Listen, I'm so proud of you guys. It's such
Thank
a
you.
great.
Thank you.
I mean, listen, I'm so proud, and your show is really doing what we all need to be doing: is to stop and think for a moment
Yep.
what we are doing to the movie business.
Hmm.
And I think it's a great thing, and I just hope much more success.
Well,
Thank you very much, David. Appreciate
We love
it.
it. And we love you, man. Thank you for being part of it.
Listen,
Thanks for
love
being
it.
a part of it.
All right, take care.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.